Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is April, and I'm an astrologer, and I go by Cosmic Homegirl on my own astrology platform. And I'm here to talk about success in astrology. That means seeing time frames to where you can have more success in your life. Mostly career is what I'm going to focus on. I'm so grateful and so honored that Nadia Shah allowed me to come onto her platform and to choose a topic to talk about with everybody. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys gain some great knowledge and insight. I'm only going to go over a few things. That way I don't make like a super long, boring video, okay? So if you're a big time astro nerd like me and you're like, oh, you forgot this, you forgot that, there's so many layers to astrology. There's so much that can be said, especially about this topic here. But I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of brief insights into how timing works in astrology and how you can actually take advantage of it if you're aware of it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is transits to your first house. Now, if you don't know what a transit is, if you're new to astrology in any kind of way, it's when the planets are moving through certain signs and they affect you on an energetic level, which then causes you to act or react in certain ways, to do certain things, to make certain changes in your life. So that's what I'm talking about. So the first house, or if a planet is in your sign, that means your sun sign, sometimes your moon sign, maybe even other planets, but let's just talk about the first house. So if you have a planet like Jupiter transiting through the first house. So Jupiter is the planet of greater opportunity, of abundance, and just seeing life in a really broad perspective. It's like looking at life totally outside of the norm and the day-to-day that you go through, and seeing yourself as a person who is open to bigger and better things. So if you don't normally think like that or feel like that about your life, well, when Jupiter transits your sign, you'll get like a little boost, you know what I mean? You'll get like a little fire under your butt, so to speak, to take advantage of it, and opportunities may come your way, but it's really up to you to take advantage of the opportunities if they do come your way. So that's with any of the planetary transits. It's all about how you decide to act. You know what I mean? With Jupiter transits, they last 1 year. Jupiter spends 1 whole year in a sign. It only comes back around to that sign again once every 12 years. Okay, so once every 12 years, you've got that opportunity that you can grab. So don't waste any time when Jupiter transits your sign or any of the other houses that I'm going to mention. Jupiter can make you want to go back to school. It can make you want to travel. Whatever you feel like broadens your mind and makes you see life from a more optimistic and opportunistic perspective, that's what it can bring to you. Whatever you consider abundance, whatever you consider success, you'll really feel like doing things that bring it to you. So in any kind of work that you do, Jupiter can bring a change in your career path. It can bring people just saying, hey, look at so-and-so, they're so talented. Why don't we offer them this opportunity, that opportunity? I see it happen all the freaking time. So people get really inspired when Jupiter's in their first house or in their sign, or they're like seeking inspiration. You know, they're thinking, what's more out there in life? Like, what else can I do? There's so much life out there to live. And they start seeking how they can like live more, you know, how they can literally live it up, as we say. So with that, yes, can definitely come some type of career success. But I say this with Jupiter transits, okay? They're like the old school Super Mario games. So if you used to play Super Mario, or maybe they have it in today's games, I don't know, but there's a superstar, right? There's a star that Mario grabs and then he becomes invincible. He can knock through anyone or anything and nothing stops him. That's what Jupiter transits can be like. They're like that superstar. But you know what? Just like in Super Mario, that superstar can come your way and you can just let it bounce down the drain. Okay, so that's the same thing that can happen with planetary transits. It's a time where you can be like supercharged, but if you just sit there, you know what I mean? Or if people give you opportunities, hey, do this, hey, do that, hey, do this, and you're just like, nah, I'm going to stay in one spot. Nothing will really happen for you. So just look out for transits of Jupiter in your first house. Also, Uranus in your first house. Okay, now this only happens to people usually once in a lifetime because it takes 84 whole years to travel around the zodiac. But Uranus in your first house, this is when people feel like super liberated. They feel super free to just be their true zany, kooky selves, you know what I mean? Or Uranus transits their sun and even their moon, maybe even other personal planets. It just brings out more of the feeling of just wanting to be authentic, wanting to be unique, wanting to be more of an individual. It's a lot more expression of your true self and just really not caring. You know, you don't care. You're just so unbothered by anybody else's opinion usually with Uranus transits, because it is an energy of rebellion as well. So because of that, people just say, I'm just going to do me. And I'll tell you one thing. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I've seen a lot of people who are successful on YouTube, and I watched their whole like business model, you know, all their business moves and everything. There have been so many people while Uranus has been in the sign of Aries that have Aries moons or their Aries sun, Aries rising, you know, or even other planets in Aries, but mostly the sun, moon, and rising, to where they just really blow up. You know, they just say, oh, I just decided to pick up a camera one day and start filming, start vlogging. They have all been Aries people. Not all of them, but like there's been a lot of them though, okay? So Uranus transits when it comes to your sign. Uranus is actually moving into, as I'm filming this, I know it's going to date it a little bit, but it's going to move into the sign of Taurus in May, like mid-May of 2018. It's going to be there until 2026. Okay, so if this video is still up between that time frame and you're a Taurus, you know, your Taurus sun, Taurus moon, Taurus rising, or like Mercury or Venus or Mars and Taurus, this can be a time where you really start to just be your true self. And with that can come even more success in your life in whatever path you take. It doesn't have to be YouTube, okay? It could be anything. You just feel free. You just feel like free to be yourself. And a lot of people who are just authentically themselves, especially if you are like maybe an artist or anything like that, transits of Uranus can definitely see times of even greater success. So let's talk about some of the other houses in astrology that can show success through planetary transits, like the second house. Okay, especially if you're looking to make more money, if you're looking to have more financial abundance come to you, Jupiter in the second house can definitely bring that. But remember, it's a superstar, okay? You got to reach up and grab it for yourself. So you got to look for opportunities to expand when it comes to money. So Jupiter here, this is a time where you can maybe find a better job, find a second job, you know, little talents and hobbies that you have, you can capitalize on them financially and bring more money to yourself. Also, Uranus transiting the second house. Now, this can bring extreme ups and downs when it comes to money. So I would say to definitely be careful. Don't like gamble too much, or I don't know if I would invest in like stocks and stuff like that. It could be pretty risky, but a lot of times with Uranus transits, through the greatest risks can come the greatest success, because Uranus is like a wild card. It's like the Tower card in tarot, you know, because you never know what you're going to get. It can be a gamble, but sometimes the gamble can lead to like unexpected highs with things, but it can be unexpected lows. So like I said, it's very risky, okay, with it in your money house. But one of the best ways to capitalize on a Uranus transit like this is to do some things to make money that are Uranian in nature. Just look up what Uranus rules. I'll just mention a few things briefly here. Uranus rules technology, it rules social media, the internet, the technology used to communicate with the masses on a really large scale. That's all ruled by Uranus. Anything that's innovative, that's unique, that's original, that's like ahead of its time, ahead of the game, you know, all those sayings have to do with Uranian energy, being a visionary and like a creator of like really original things. So anything like that you can apply to making money off of, and maybe you can see some greater success there. Another transit to your second house of money that may see times of more financial abundance and success is when the North Node transits there. The North Node, and also when there's eclipses there. So little fun nerdy facts about the North Node or Rahu, okay? So the North Node is a point that's calculated. It's not an actual planet, and it comes back around to the same sign only once every 18 to 19 years. So it's a really kind of like a rare occasion for some people as far as taking advantage of that energy at that time. And it is one of the indicators of what sign the eclipses will be during an 18-month cycle. Okay, so that's how long it lasts in a sign, is like for about 18 months or so as well. So the North Node there, the North Node is like what you could be super obsessed with, like so obsessively just going after, going after, going after. So when it transits your money house, your second house, that's what you're going after, is that money. Okay, so this is when you can be super focused there on gaining through your own means, your own efforts. And then to add to it, when there's eclipses there, eclipses are like earthquakes that happen in your natal chart, okay? Because they really shake and rock that area in really big ways. So you could see some good things happening, hopefully, with eclipses to your second house, because they tend to open portals, eclipses. So it can open the portal to like much more money that you can earn at that time as well. So the third house we'll give an honorable mention to, because it's not necessarily like a money or a job or career house. But if you are in a career that is associated with writing, blogging, vlogging, doing websites, anything to do with speaking and communication, and combine it with maybe Uranus transiting there, which is Uranus rules technology. The third house could be speaking like through the radio or through podcasts or even video. You know, this is a time where a lot of people have, when they have these big transits here to this house, to where they who are in those type of fields see lots more success, because it just gives their mind such like a buzz, you know, like more of a buzz of energy to be able to come up with really cool ideas and concepts, and also really just speak their mind like true. You know what I mean? Just really, truly speak their mind, and not, it's like no holds barred a lot of times with Uranus in the third. So sometimes people can't just, you know, just blurt out any old thing. But once again, Uranus is authenticity. So people are being authentic, and others may appreciate that. And that can then boost them into success in a third house type of a field. So Jupiter transiting the third house can also bring, you know, like some success and some opportunities when it comes to third house matters that I mentioned. But also the third house is learning skills. So if you have a time where you want to learn new skills, that can maybe boost you into success by being more versatile, being a little bit more knowledgeable of things, then Jupiter transiting your third house can help with that, especially when it comes to like taking little classes, learning like a bunch of little different things, you know, that can really make you more of an educated person in your craft or in your field. That can lead you to more success too. Now let's talk about transits to your fifth house. So the fifth house is fun and creativity, and it also is where you can maybe find your hobbies and things that are hobbies, but you're skilled in them, and maybe you're like confident enough in your skills to show them off, because the fifth house can be showmanship. And the fifth house energy is about having like really big amounts of confidence. So you can be like, hey, what's up? I'm here. Like, it's that Leo type of energy. It can be big and glamorous, and, you know, it's super duper creative. So if you are a creative person, especially, transits to your fifth house can bring more success, because they bring out more of your talent. They bring out more of your confidence and your courage. So Uranus, once again, transiting the fifth house, oh my gosh, especially if you have a talent that involves technology, that involves social media, you will be out there, okay? You will be so much more seen and heard, or you will be on a mission to do that. And once again, with Uranus being originality and just not really caring, you know, when I think of Uranus, I think of whatever, I do what I want. I do what I want. Like that, what's his name? Cartman on South Park. He just, whatever, I do what I want. It's like, you really just do whatever you want without listening to people, which can be bad sometimes, okay? But in this case, you know, we're talking about the good stuff here. So it can be a time to where you just feel like doing whatever you want, doing whatever makes you happy, doing whatever you're talented in, and not really paying attention to what other people say about it as much, you know? However, the fifth house energy can be about seeking applause, or doing whatever you can to achieve having people applaud you and compliment you on what you do. So for some people, you know, it may be a little bit harder to work with that energy, because if they don't receive that applause, they could be disappointed. But for a lot of people, it could be the opposite. It's like, well, I really want people to applaud me for what I'm doing. I want them to see that I'm talented. So I'm going to keep on pushing and doing me and doing what I'm skilled at and showing it off until I start receiving that applause. You know what I mean? So with that, you can see success. If you are, especially once again, in a career that's very creative, like dancing, singing, anything to where you perform, like performing arts, any type of performing arts, yeah, it's definitely the fifth house. Anything that requires you to just be creative is what it is. So Uranus transiting there really liberates you to just be involved in creative things and express yourself like so freely. And Jupiter transits to the fifth house. Once again, it's expansion, it's seeing opportunities, so you can maybe find more opportunities. So I know one person who, when Jupiter transited their fifth house, they started DJing, and they had actually already been DJing for a while, and then they had opportunities to appear on television. They got into battles and they won prizes and awards. They got a lot of applause. They got a lot of recognition. They got to play. You know what I mean? Like you can just see more of that with your talents that you already have when Jupiter transits your fifth house. This also applies to the North Node once again, because the North Node is your obsessions at a time period in your life. So you could be super obsessed with creativity and your talents, and receiving applause and appreciation for the talents that you have. So you'll be on a straight mission for it during the North Node transits. And eclipses here can show breakthroughs of when you can have some successes with your creative talents and have opportunities that are really big to like put them out there. So now let's talk about the sixth house. So the sixth house is the job. It's work. It's usually like more routines and work that you go to every single day, and you have a schedule and you have like the same thing that you do all the time. So any job that fits that description, a lot of times you can find those in the sixth house, like work that's like more clerical, or it's just more steady and stable work. So once again, Uranus transiting here. Okay, now Uranus transiting the sixth house, with it being routines and like your job and stuff, sometimes it could be a little disruptive, I'll be honest. Okay, it's not always like roses and sunshine and happiness. It can be disruptive, but it's liberating energy. So it can liberate you from a boring, mundane job or schedule or duties that you've been having for a long time. Prime example, I had that happen to me. Uranus transiting my sixth house. It's just on the tail end of that as I'm filming this. And I was working in finance for years, actually probably over 10 years. I was working mostly in finance, and then I started to get really antsy and sit there in my cubicle and feel like, you know what, I have talents in other things, especially astrology. So what am I doing sitting here? It gave me anxiety to sit in a cubicle all day, you know what I mean? So I eventually, through some eclipses and other things happening too, broke free. I broke free out of that, and now I'm doing a very Uranian unique job, which is being an astrologer and filming videos. So for a lot of people, it doesn't matter what job you're in. If it's something that isn't true to you and to your life's purpose, Uranus can free you from it. Sometimes the circumstances may be uncomfortable, but it pushes you into doing something that's like opening a door, a totally different door that's more meant for you to walk into, and leaving your old job, and your old career behind. So Uranus transiting the sixth house is a very special time if you are a worker and have a job. I recommend finding what is like really just authentically you, as far as what you can do for a living and for a job. And also being open to changes and adapting to changes, with maybe not always having the same exact job. Find a job that allows you freedom in your schedule, freedom in your routines, freedom in the work that you do, because Uranus's energy is like this, or it's like this. Okay, so it's like a roller coaster ride at times. So it will be like that with a job, but doing a job that is something related to Uranus. Okay, like even if you're not in the technology field or anything like that, or social media, marketing, anything that Uranus rules, just make sure you're doing something that is not being micromanaged, and that you'll want to rebel against, pretty much. So now let's talk about Jupiter in the sixth. Jupiter, the bringer of opportunities. You can see transits of Jupiter in the sixth house bring just that when it comes to work. For example, my sister, was having a really hard time with her jobs, you know? She works for the government. She's a typical Capricorn, right? Working in a government job. But she was having a lot of trouble, and she went back into that field of working for the government as Jupiter's transiting her sixth house, which is actually happening as I'm filming this. And now she has supporters. She has supporters in her workplace who are rooting for her, who are trying to get her boosted up into greater opportunity. So sometimes people can see that happening, or sometimes, like one of my friends, Jupiter transited her sixth house and she got a job opportunity, but then she got fired. And at first, as her personal Miss Cleo, you know, her personal astrologer, I was like, hold up. Jupiter's in your sixth house. You should be having good luck with jobs. Like, why did you get fired? However, that was an experience, that was a learning opportunity. And then she found a really, really good job that was more along the lines of something she'd want to do for a longer period of time, you know, at the same time that Jupiter was in her sixth house. Also, eclipses and North Node transits to your sixth house, yes, they can bring big opportunities, big changes with jobs. So transits to your 10th house. Oh my gosh, 10th house. I love the 10th house. Okay. So this is the house of career. This is the house of your title. Like when people talk about you, when they say your name and they say, oh, so-and-so, they are a blah, 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 blah. What comes after that is the 10th house. So it's your ultimate achievement, your career. I mean, look at it. The 10th house is at the very top, right? So it's the highest point you can reach in life, literally. So because of that, we look at that for career. And when you have a crazy transit there, sometimes you can see people who have these big, like, they shoot up into fame and like a large following so easy with the transit to the 10th house. So let's talk about Uranus there. Okay, Uranus, the bringer of electricity and lightning bolts striking up in there. So to the 10th house, yes, you can find yourself changing your path in career. You may change career path actually a few times when Uranus transits the 10th. You may be like doing something that, say, for example, your parents, right? They've always wanted you to take a certain path. Maybe it's tradition. Maybe it's, well, your father and your grandfather, they were in the military, they're in the police force, and therefore you as their, they're your ancestors. So now you're carrying on the family name, the family tradition. That's what you have to do too. And if it's something that you start doing, but then you're like, oh my gosh, like this is really not me, Uranus is going to start buzzing around that 10th house cusp, and he'll be like, no, you need to do what's true to you. No, no, no. And then you'll finally free yourself, break free from what was tradition. The 10th house can actually, you can see the legacy and traditions of family in the 10th house a lot of times. So Uranus being the liberator and being the rebel, well, I mean, he's here to break the rules, Uranus is. So you will be breaking some rules when it comes to career. So also with it transiting your 10th house, Uranus ruling once again, social media, technology, reaching the masses in a really huge way, humanitarianism. Definitely use that as a time period to get involved in a job that incorporates some of those things, and maybe you can have more success there. Also, with Uranus ruling freedom within your career. Okay, the 10th house can rule authority figures like bosses, and you'll want freedom from them. So you need to either have bosses or people that you work for or work under that allow you to be flexible in your schedule, flexible in your duties, or this could be a time when someone starts to work for themselves. They're their own boss, they're self-employed. Actually, Uranus transiting the 2nd house, the 6th house, and the 10th house. You can see more like entrepreneurs here who just hop off of the corporate train and onto the entrepreneur one. You know what I mean? So Uranus in the 10th house can definitely do that. So Jupiter in the 10th house. Jupiter, once again, he brings that superstar. It's bouncing around. Are you going to grab it or not? So with Jupiter, you can see really big, like blowing up into promotions or higher recognition by people who are higher than you as well in their own positions in the company that you work for. This is when people can just see some more success. And also with the 10th house ruling public recognition, you can receive a lot of public recognition, literally, like especially if you're in a job that requires you to be on social media, you could be seen by the public, okay, like so much more than before. I have seen a lot of people on YouTube who have Jupiter transit their 10th house. And during that time is when they really blow up on social media. You know, their subscriber count goes up, their follower count goes up, and they're like, wow, all of a sudden it was just a big boom. I don't know where it came from. Well, Jupiter a lot of times is the reason why. So Jupiter transiting the 10th can bring opportunities like to work for bigger companies or work for people who are in just some kind of a prestigious position in whatever field that you're in, and you can become one of them. You know, you can get along better with those people, you know, kind of schmoozing with the higher ups, you know, rubbing elbows with them. Yes, Bob, yes. You know, so it's that time where you can feel more like that yourself. Also, the North Node in the 10th house, let me tell you from personal experience, you will be super obsessed with your career, super obsessed with finding it if you haven't found what it is that you're supposed to do as a career. And you won't really want to do anything else. Like, you'll be less concerned with the domestic part of life, which is where the South Node is at during that time in your 4th house of your domestic life, your personal life, your family. Less concerned there, more concerned with achievement. Really super obsessed, like have an insatiable appetite for achieving your greatest and your best and being known for that any kind of way that you can. So North Node in the 10th house can show that. Sometimes when I think of the North Node, I know I'm like a really big nerd, but I think of Pac-Man. You know, Pac-Man, he's constantly, you know, so that's how you are. Like, your appetite is like that. You're constantly doing this when it comes to wherever the North Node's transiting. So in the 10th house, that's with finding your true career and your title and achieving your absolute best. And everybody's seeing that. And also eclipses here. Eclipses to the 10th house are huge because that's when you see people jumping ship as well, when they're in a corporate job or, you know, jumping onto the corporate train or just something that's like major, like no one ever expected you to leave your job or to start a certain type of career, and you just do it, you know. So any of these transits can definitely see those time periods. So lastly, I'm going to talk about the 11th house, because the 11th house, especially if you are someone who utilizes the media, social media, marketing, okay, networking with people in order to gain success through whatever job you have, transits to your 11th house are that time, because the 11th house could be support systems that are not necessarily family, not even always close friends. It could just be like associates, like you know a person who knows a person who knows a person, and they can connect you to the right people. That's 11th house energy. So Uranus transiting here, oh my gosh, this can show somebody who really has a quick upshot into fame as well. I've seen it with celebrities. I've seen it with people, especially who utilize social media to gain a huge following and huge recognition. Uranus in the 11th house is that time, okay? And also, Uranus in the 11th, the 11th house and Uranus, they represent very similar things. So Uranus feels at home here. It operates very well in this part of your life. So it can just really expand on your networks. Unexpectedly, you find yourself involved with like a totally different type of people than you ever have been involved in. And through that, you can, you know, find yourself with some different type of career or some opportunities coming your way. The same thing goes for Jupiter. Jupiter expands, right? So it expands on your networks. Now, I remember, as a personal example, Jupiter transiting my 11th house, that's when myself and other fellow astrologers who have the same rising sign as I do, we all found each other. We all found our little network of astrologers, and through the internet, you know, through Facebook groups and stuff like that. So we all found each other. We found our tribe. We found our fellow aliens. And through that, we all helped each other out. We started doing YouTube videos together, collaborations, mentions, shout outs, you know, any advice we can give to each other to boost each other in success. So Jupiter in the 11th house, really good time for that. Really good time to get to know people, the right people, okay? The right people to connect you to the right things. The North Node in the 11th house and eclipses here, they can definitely show something similar with like opening the portal once again to bring in the right people, to bring you to more success possibly. And also the North Node, with it being the Pac-Man, you know, he's just hungry for that networking, for getting connected to people. So you'll be on a mission when it's in your 11th house to find the right people. And also, I've seen people grow big followings on the internet with the North Node transiting the 11th, and also putting themselves out there on social media a lot more with that type of a transit too. So that pretty much wraps it up for what I wanted to discuss with you guys. It's one of my favorite astrology topics is career. And I really love to see when I do people's charts, do readings for them, see when can they find some more opportunities in their lives, you know, to jump on. Like when is the universe working in their favor? You know, even outside of astrology, people will say terms like that. And in astrology, what's dope about it is we can see those time periods, you know, when the universe works in your favor. So I hope this helped. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight. Like I said, I know there's a lot more I could have said, but no hour-long videos here. Not this one. Maybe another one, maybe another time. I just really want to thank Miss Nadia Shah for allowing me to come on here on her platform and talk to you guys about this topic in astrology that I love so much. It's one of my favorites. I love doing readings for people, especially the career readings where I can let you guys know in your horoscope what's coming up that can actually show those time periods where that superstar might be bouncing around and you can grab it, you know. So I hope this helps. I hope you learned something, and thank you so much for watching and listening. I know it's somebody totally different here, you know, it's not Nadia talking, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And thank you so much to Nadia. Nadia is one of a few people that I have learned so much from in astrology. I've taken her classes, I've watched all her videos, you know, she's just one of the coolest astrologers, and she's always looking fly. That's another thing that I was inspired by. I'm like, okay, she wears makeup, okay, I wear makeup, okay. So we both have a love for things like that. So if you'd like to get in touch with me for a reading or on my platform, almost everything is under Cosmic Homegirl, and we will provide the information, I'm sure, below the video as well, to where you guys can reach me. So once again, my name is April, aka Cosmic Homegirl, and I'm signing off, and maybe I'll see you guys again some other time. All right, peace.